Can I tell him the joke we just made, Oliver?
Sure.
So I said, wow, the band is going to outnumber the audience. And he goes, oh, I'm used to it. I play jazz. That was pretty funny. Okay, so I want to welcome people who are watching virtually. Hello. Hello. We're here and you're there and we love you still. And what I also want to tell you is there are ways to support the center even if you are watching virtually, or if you all don't know it, there's ways to support the center. You can e-transfer to office@calgarycsl.org. You can pay on PayPal on our website, which is calgarycsl.org. You can call the office and talk to Penny, and she can either take your credit card or your debit card, or she can get you signed up for Conscious Commitment as well, where the funds are just taken out at the beginning of the month, and we really appreciate that. With the way things are, we're going to still need financial support to keep things going, so I appreciate you all, and I appreciate you all. Now, I have a question for you all before I get started with my regular talk. The talk is called Once Decided, Then Guided. And I am also open to holding a discussion about things that are going on in life right now. So you guys get to make a decision here. Would you like to have my talk, which I will tell you is beautifully crafted, or do you want to kind of debrief and talk about what's going on? Raise your hand if it's debrief. Raise your hand if it's talk. Well done. Okay, that's what we're going to do then. It's because I said it was beautifully crafted, right? Yeah, thank you. So now I have another question for you. Does anybody else have a problem sometimes making a decision? Yeah. If you're like me, what happens is you get all your facts together and then you go from one possibility to another over and over and over again. Pretty soon you find yourself running around in circles and you're afraid or you're reluctant to actually make a decision about something. What happens for me often, I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but it's true, but it happens for me on Sunday mornings. So the night before, I kind of put my talk to bed and I've tucked the dog in and everything, and then I kind of make up my mind about what I'm going to wear the next day, right? Because, that's important. I do look really nice today. This is a cute outfit. Okay, so What happens sometimes, and guys, maybe this didn't happen for you, but it happens for me, is that I get up in the morning and I think about another outfit that I have, and then I can't make up my mind. And so I try them all on. And then I'm hot and I'm sweaty and I'm grumpy and I've got surrounded by crumpled up clothing and I'm still not dressed, but I'm late. So I throw on whatever it is, usually that I had planned the night before. And of course, that's the day when somebody says to me, wow, you look really nice today. That outfit's cute. That color is nice on you. So of course, choosing an outfit isn't life-altering. It isn't going to change the world. However, it does illustrate what Emerson wrote, which is, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. Once you make a decision, the universe steps up to support you in that decision. The problem is, as long as I'm running around like a chicken with its head cut off, having all these choices but not willing to make a decision, I'm not giving the universe clear direction on how it can support me. Is this making sense? If I'm not giving the universe clear direction, then I run the risk of attracting situations that I don't want in my life. And the reason for that is the universal law of cause and effect responds to our thoughts and our beliefs. So if we are filled with uncertainty, if we are filled with doubt, the universe naturally responds to us with uncertain results. We don't have it clear in our mind. However, when we make a decision in spite of the uncertainty, in spite of the doubt, we're giving a clear idea of what we want, a clear idea of what we expect, and then that is what shows up in our world of experience, our world of effect. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said this: trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. Say that with me. Trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought, because a trained mind is a decisive mind. Therefore, a decisive mind is more powerful than an indecisive mind. You with me? Yeah. For instance, I know someone, good friend of mine, who is standing at several crossroads in her life. Should I stay in my relationship? Should I change careers? I'm not sure about where I live. All that other kind of stuff. And yet, in order to move forward in her life, she needs to make some decisions. But because of uncertainty and fear, she isn't making any decisions. And because she's not making any decisions, she's feeling as if her life is spinning out of control. Basically, what's happening is that she is waiting for other people to act before she knows what direction to go. Yes? But here's the deal. Her not making a decision is actually making a decision. It's making a decision to let other people decide. But the problem is, when we let other people make decisions on our behalf, we run the risk of having things happen to us rather than by us. To us rather than by us. And when something happens to us, we feel like victims. We feel as if we don't have a choice as to how our life is going to go, because we've given away our power to somebody else or something else. At least if we make the decision, good, bad, or indifferent, we are participating in our own outcome. Yes? Yes. And if the outcome is good, yay. If the outcome is less than good, then guess what? We get to decide to change again. It's not up to anybody else. How many of you have seen the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? Okay, most of you. Good. It came out in 2004. And it's a little bit hard to describe what it is. It's one of those movies that, we metaphysicians love. So it's part story, it's kind of funny, it's kind of dramatic, it's a documentary, and it's about quantum physics and spirituality. So I love comedies about quantum physics, don't you? Actually, I love this movie because, boy, it was so cutting edge at the time that it came out, because it gave a visual illustration of what we talk about here. And the story part of it's sweet. It's about a woman who comes to spiritual understanding and enlightenment. It's sweet. But it's interspersed with these interviews with noted scientists and with spiritual teachers who are basically talking about what I talk about every Sunday. And that is that thoughts are things. And we create our life experience with our thought. But what's so cool about it is that it is in this movie, it is backed up by quantum mechanics. It is so cool. Ernest Holmes' first, I actually had this slide and took it out. The first sentence of the Science of Mind text, we have somebody who bought her first Science of Mind text today, says, we all look forward to the day when science and religion walk hand in hand from the visible to the invisible. So this is happening right now. That's what quantum physics is telling us, right? So what these quantum scientists are saying is that underneath everything, underneath all that we know is matter, underneath the atoms and the nucleuses of the atoms and all that, is this universal substance that responds to thought. In other words, when we think, that substance becomes the thing we think about. This is what we've been teaching for years. Our thoughts become our experience. It's basic metaphysics. But what does that have to do with decision making? Well, quantum physics supports the idea that when we decide, that unformed substance of the universe conforms itself to that decision. Are you with me? That's important to know. When we make a decision, it's like in the background, all that stuff is going to form itself into the thing that we've decided about. So once we make a decision, the possibilities become endless because we are co-creating in our lives. So then the question comes up, does that mean that we make good or bad decisions? Well, the truth of the matter is there is no such thing as a good or a bad decision, a right or a wrong decision. There just isn't. The way it works is I choose or I decide about something, and if I've chosen indirectly, then it shows up in my life, and I can change what I'm thinking about. So there is no good or bad or right and wrong. There just is. Yes? And if I want to change something, I change my mind about it. I change my decision about it. One of the litmus tests that we learned from What the Bleep is from Dr. Joe Dispenza, who said in that movie, "What choice or decision will evolve me? What choice or decision takes me in the direction I want to go?" That's really key. If you ask yourself, what will evolve me and move me toward the life that I want to be living? It doesn't have to be huge life-altering decision. It applies to every decision that we make because a decisive mind is a powerful mind. And the more we make decisions, the more confident we become about our decisions, and the more we learn to trust ourselves. It's particularly true when we base our decisions on what will evolve me, what will take me to where I want to go. So I want to share a true story. It's about my sister Beth, who many of you know. Beth comes up. She's a practitioner in the center I used to serve, and she comes up quite often and does workshops and things for us. Beth and her family live in Southern California, where we're all from. But the real estate being what it is in Southern California, they have never felt as if they could purchase a home. So for many years, and I mean many years, they rented a nice, comfortable house in Oceanside, California, with a big, giant backyard and a partial, kind of, sort of, if you peer through the trees, little glimpse of the ocean. And they lived in this house for well over 25 years. They raised their son and many animals in this house. We had many family gatherings in this house, so it was definitely their home, even though they didn't own it. And because they loved the house so much and they loved where they lived, they took really, really good care of it, as if it was their own. So about a year ago, they got a phone call from their landlord who wanted to come and meet with them. And they were nervous because they thought either they were going to jack the rent up because, it's how real estate is, or that the owner was going to want to sell it. And what would they do then after living in this house for all these years, right? Well, sure enough, The owner did want to sell the house, and she wanted to sell it to them because they had taken such good care of it, and they had lived in it for so long that she wanted to sell it to them for way below market price. It gets better. So they're like, oh no, we can't do that. We can't possibly take on a mortgage at our age. And we don't have money for the down payment. And we can't afford the mortgage payment and the taxes and all that other kind of stuff. So this is what's going on in their mind. However, they made a decision to at least investigate the possibility. And in their investigating, Beth found out that her husband, even though he still works full time because he's so old, no, he won't be watching, so he won't even know that I made that joke at his expense. So, golly. But he could also qualify for Social Security, which is the same thing as Canada Pension, right? So he could still work and still collect his Social Security. He was like 68 years old, something like that. Here's the key. The Social Security that he qualified for was exactly the difference between what they were paying in rent and what the new mortgage payment was going to be. Made it up perfectly. So then, what do we do about the down payment? And then Beth remembered that she still had some stock from our parents' estate that she hadn't cashed in yet. So she went to a broker and found out the value of the stocks was exactly what they needed for a down payment. You cannot make this stuff up. After that, and they kept saying yes, and they kept getting green light and green light and green light, because once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. And now they own the home that they have loved for over 25 years, and it is already worth many thousands of dollars more than they paid for it. Yeah. I know, it's such a great story. So you better believe that their belief in the power of decision making and possibilities expanded as a result of that. And here's the coolest thing about making decisions. The more we believe in the power of our thought, the more powerful our thoughts become. So we can learn how to trust ourselves in the process of making decisions. We can learn to turn within for our guidance and our decision making. That's why the name of this talk is Once Decided, Then Guided. Once decided, then you receive the guidance on how to move forward. We think it's the opposite, right? We think that we have to, oh no, I'm waiting for God to tell me what I'm supposed to do. It doesn't work like that. What works is that we wait and we wait and we wait, and we get this guidance, and then what we're really doing is just spinning our wheels until we get it. But if we step onto the path, we receive the guidance. That makes sense? Makes sense to me too. But here's one of the paradoxes of life. After you have made a decision, haven't you found that you receive the guidance that you're looking for? After you've made the decision, not before. Before, you're just in no man's land. Yes, I'm going to do this. Yes, I'm going to move to Canada. Yes, I'm going to buy a house at 70 years old. Yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You step on the path, and the path becomes clear. But we have to step on the path in order to see it. We can't see it when we're going around in circles. So here's one last thing that I want to let you know about this decision making. And this one is the hardest one for me. Don't be afraid to be in the mystery. Don't be afraid to be in the mystery, because if you are waiting to make a decision because you want a guarantee about how things are going to turn out, you might be waiting forever. And the reason for that is this is not predestination. It isn't an already determined future. We don't know how things will turn out because we haven't created them yet. So don't wait until you know to decide. Step on the path. See if it feels right. Trust that the guidance of the universe is there for you. And if you find yourself on the wrong path, and it happens sometimes, and you don't like the direction you're going, it's not evolving you, then guess what? Make another decision. And the universe will conspire to make it happen. It really is that simple. And so it is. Thank you.